Muslim countries are the driving force behind the Defamation of Religions resolution. Their intent is to impose criminal penalties on individuals deemed guilty in words or actions of defaming another person's religion. Jay Sekulow of the American Center for Law and Justice.
This defamation of religion has nothing to do with protecting religious freedom. In fact, to the contrary, what it does is isolate and protect Islam from criticism, which means those that are engaged in the proclamation of the gospel to members of the Muslim faith would be guilty of violating a UN resolution.
Previous resolutions only addressed the Islamic faith. More recently, a conference of 57 Islamic nations determined broader support could be won if their proposal included other faiths. Carl Moeller of Open Doors USA says the resolution would actually restrict Christians from freely practicing their faith.
Simple Christian activities like praying, worshiping, and sharing one's belief in Jesus Christ with a neighbor can be interpreted as offensive and therefore restricted.
Globally, Muslim nations have taken the lead to impose penalties against speech or actions they find offensive. Pakistan is one example. A restrictive blasphemy law imposed by the late President Zia-ul-Haq in the 1980s is still in force today. Islamic militants often use it to falsely accuse and attack members of the country's minority Christian community. That was the case last summer in the city of Gojra. 8 Christians were killed and homes were burned when Muslims went on a rampage. The militants claimed the Quran had been desecrated, a crime under Pakistan's blasphemy law. Pakistan's blasphemy law contains 3 main sections: blasphemy against Islam, blasphemy against the Muslim holy book, the Quran, and blasphemy against the Prophet Muhammad. The maximum sentence for those found guilty of blaspheming the Quran is life imprisonment. The punishment for blaspheming Muhammad, death. No Christian convicted of blasphemy has been executed by the state, but many have languished in prison for years. Pakistani Christians have launched a petition drive demanding a repeal of the blasphemy law. If the proposed defamation of religions law is approved by the UN, those efforts would possibly be in vain. Sekulow fears a worldwide standard.
Even if it's not legally enforceable in a given country, it does set a standard, and ultimately a lot of these countries end up adopting resolution language that the UN passes. So the precedent here is very dangerous.
And worldwide, UN adoption of a defamation law could mean similar actions like those against Christians in Pakistan and even in Gojra could become more commonplace. Gary Lane, CBN News.